Boy, I'm sure glad to have that stuff done. We did stay up all night, you know. But I'll say one thing, by golly, they certainly have improved the way they had to do these strips in the old days.
Sure have.
Had to put them on zinc back then. Took about 8 hours.
Hey, Max.
Well,
Max Harrison.
CARSON. Bless your heart.
How you doing there, partner?
I want you to meet Dave. Dave Fowler.
Glad to know you, Dave.
He's my research fella.
He'd make a doggone good deputy.
Yes, he would.
I noticed you coming out of the newspaper office there. What are you up to, Max?
Well, by golly, we've got you in the comics.
Got me in the comics.
I hope it's all right. I'm a little late to tell you, aren't I?
Well, I reckon it's all right.
Dave here is a real research man. He's given me a lot of, you know, young people are really interested in this type of thing today with the revival and all the colleges showing the films. And so I'm keeping a little young touch with me here to be sure.
Well, that's great. That's
Boy,
really
in the old
great.
days, I had to do all the research myself, but we turned out a lot of them in those days, didn't we?
Certainly did.
Got one here I'd love to show you.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Here. I'm not interrupting you from going
Let's walk over here and it's...
That's great, Dave. You got some originals here. This sunset is going to be entitled Trail of the Sawdust Wranglers.
Trail of the Sawdust Wranglers.
Of course, you've done circuses enough through the years. You remember the old Harmonica circus?
That's right.
And of course, old Fred, remember Fred Scott?
I remember Fred Scott very well.
He knew Tom well and worked with him a lot. And of course, I know you as a young man loaded guns with a mixed circus.
That's right. Uh-huh.
So this right here is one of the first panels, and we're going to open it up with such great classic stars as Tim McCoy going after you. We've got you as one of the riders, one of the 3 riders here.
Let's see that.
Mm-hmm. And we get you in the circus by having you brought in with Fred Scott and Tom Mix, and the 3 of you are going to be referred to as the Sawdust Wranglers.
The Sawdust Wranglers.
And this right over here, if you don't mind me flipping the page here.
Hey, hey, that is great.
That's old Fred in his heyday there, isn't it?
It's Fred Scott.
Actually, in this scene here, as you see in the dialogue up here, he's referring to you here. You're over in the coffee tent, because I know you love coffee, and in them days you always had some pretty women following you, you know. So,
oh, I tell you, that Fred Scott, that's fantastic. That's really good, Max. It's a good likeness too.
It'll be about a year by the time we get enough drawn up. You have to get a lot of these ahead, you know, and so I want you to be looking for it, and I hope that the young ones would enjoy it. That's what he's here for, to give me a little inside touch.
Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman you're standing here on my right is Max Harrison. He's a man that drew all of our cowboys, comic books, coloring books, and so on and so forth. And Max drew it to Gene Autry, first comic book. And I'd like to welcome him to the Sunset Carson Hollywood Nostalgia Theater. Welcome, Max.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure. It really
Max,
is.
suppose you tell our fans out there about some of the comic books and things that you've drawn with the cowboys over these years.
Well, Tom Mix, of course, heavily in color books in those days, because that's back when Ralston Purina was sponsoring him, and I did some early coloring books for his circus. And of course, you know, without saying yours, a lot of yours, many of yours.
Yes, a lot of my comic books, yeah.
And the very early Gene Autrys, I had a lot of fun doing those. And while I had Smiley Burnette, remember Old Frog?
Old Frog, yeah. Frog was my first comedian.
I heard him speak of him many times.
Oh, we had an awful lot of fun. I tell you, I never seen anybody loved ice cream more than Old Frog did.
Oh, my gracious.
Besides Max Harrison, I understand.
Well, now, he got me to liking that. You know, he would always have an ice cream freezer, you know, on the set. You'd have all the cowboys in a circle waiting for ice cream, you know. When he's shooting outside, it got pretty hot in those days. It wasn't in these fancy buildings like you do now. You know? Went on bivouacs almost, wasn't it? Boy, that peach ice cream he used to grind up was mighty good.
That's right, Max. And besides all this stuff you're doing here, I hear that you're editing a couple, 3 magazines or something like that? Or?
Yeah, I went down to Music City. Seemed like everybody's heading to Nashville, but for a long time, the Nashville people kind of forgot that there was other things going. And you do know that the cowboys, such as Fred Scott and old Gene Autry, they were the fathers of. They sung that on film long before. Well, about the time Jimmy Rogers started. So I thought possibly in these newspapers we'd let the folks know that where some of the early music started was on motion picture films with the cowboys strolling along, right?
That's right.
What is happening with your series now? I caught a lot of them, and they're really great.
Well, as you know, Six Gun Heroes, we'll be doing another episode of those. We had over 50,000 requests for another one of Six Gun Heroes. And of course, this series here is called the Hollywood Nostalgia Theater, which I've been dying to do for years, you know, but this is the first time that I've had a chance to get everybody together at one time to do this. And on this series, we're bringing back all the cowboys, and we're interviewing them and talking with them about 20 minutes before their movie, you know. And this way, the fans out there get acquainted with the cowboys. They know exactly how they started, and so on. I had you know, Fred Scott was on the show, and I had a wonderful time visiting with him and talking with him. That man is just loaded with history.
Walking legend, isn't he?
He's a walking legend, and he's the man that all of us cowboys, you know, he just paved the road for us, you know, and then along came Gene and Roy and Rex and a bunch, and it's just wonderful.
He was, Dave here was telling me how some of the college students nowadays was really enjoying getting up in the mornings on Saturday and turning the television on.
They really are interested in it.
In the colleges?
They really like it.
My problem was this: Dave found out that I owned a lot of, you know, I used to haul around movies in the trailer with old Frog, and I'm still carrying those silly things around, and tons of them, you know. And first thing I know, he's supposed to be helping me on my research, and he's got my camera up running pictures all night long.
Well, that's fantastic. That's really true.
You're
hooked on them.
Sure am.
Well, you know the one thing about the Westerns, Max, the Westerns always had a code, and good always overtook evil. And that is one thing that I think it should be brought out to our children today, and to be thankful for men like Fred Scott and all of those great cowboys that came on the screen before us.
That's for sure, and we certainly need that again. And I think Dave here will agree that a lot of the kids are wanting that type of thing.
Oh, certainly.
Back in pictures again.
They miss it.
And we
really do.
Are taking both our hats off to you for heading up this new rebirth of it, you know. And I'm going to do all I can to draw about it. And old Frog used to say, a dog fight ain't worth a dime without a lot of barking. So I guess I'm barking with my paintbrush.
Doing a lot of barking. Well, Max, it's really been wonderful for you and David to have time to drop out and visit with us here at the Hollywood Nostalgia Theater here on our Western location set. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you again, partner.
Well, good luck, and I'll be seeing every one of them right there.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
He'll probably get powder burnt in the first 3 rows.
Well, I hope not.
So much. So long, Sunset.
So long, partner. So long, David. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our little visit with Max Harrison, the man that drew all of our comic books and started us out on that sawdust trail. And not only done the comic books, he's done the record albums and everything for just about everybody in show business. We all love him until we see you again on the Sunset Carson Nostalgia Theater. So long, goodbye, and may God bless you. Bye now.